Live streaming is on.
All right, shalom, shalom. Right, shalom. It's brother Yasharala.
Was there?
Khan. Giving of course all honor and glory and praise unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahushua. Right, and secondly, we're gonna dive straight into it. Right, shalom to all the brothers and sisters that may be watching this. Right, patiently waiting for the second coming of Mashiach Yahushua. Right, Khan. So yeah, we're going to go into the Gentiles in the of the New Testament. Right, and who they are, right? The misconception, and we're going to dive straight into it. The Gentiles. All right, that's a lot. All right. So, want to kick it off?
I was just gonna say, when people read the epistles and everything, when they see the word Gentile, they think it's talking about the other nations. The Gentile can mean a heathen nation, heathens, or can mean a Hellenistic Jew that lives like the heathens. So I want to get Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 32. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, we would be
Right.
as the heathen, as the families of the countries to serve wood and stone. So that's what, they said they want to be like the heathen, 2/3, Israelites and everything. They want to be as the heathen. That's what we call, that's why the epistles and everything, they call them Gentiles because they're not brought into this truth. They're still living like the heathen.
That's right. That's right. What was that precept you just read out?
That was Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 32.
All right, Con. I'm gonna get Ezekiel, right? 14 and verse 5, because you really gotta understand the Old Testament before you start, claiming to know the New Testament, bro. Because kind of like any book, you can't just read, the latter part of the book and understand what's going on. You gotta read from front to back, So this is how we became Gentiles, right? I'm gonna get that precept real quick. This is Ezekiel 14 and verse 5. That I may take the house of Israel in their own heart, because they are all estranged from me through their idols, right? So the house of Israel was estranged, right? Meaning what? Separated, right? Alienated from the Most High, right? Through their idols, right? And we can see that in First Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 2, I believe. It says verse 6, therefore say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord God, repent and turn yourselves from idols, turn away your faces from all your abominations. See that? So, but guess what? Israel didn't do that. So therefore the Lord, even according to Jeremiah 17 and 5, that what? Or 17 and 4, that we'll be discontinued from our heritage. Come on.
I have one preacher to bring out. This is Psalm chapter 106 and verse, I guess start at 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them. 35, and this is kicker right here. But were mingled among the heathen. So the Israelites were mingled among the heathen. Like right now, Israelites, all over the world and everything, referring to James 1 and verse 1. But were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. So we learned their works, breaking the Sabbath, eating pork, and things of that nature. Wearing a suit and tie, cutting our beard off. Those are learning the works of the heathen, right?
That's right. And let me get that in Tobit too, right? This is the book of Tobit, chapter 13, right? And that's what people don't understand, that Israel was scattered amongst all the nations, like the brother was saying. This is Tobit chapter 13 and verse 3. Confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for ye have scattered us among them, right? So the Most High, he has scattered the children of Israel amongst the actual ethnic Gentiles. And Gentile, all that word means is, in the Old Testament, is what? Nations, right? The Gawayim, the nations, right?
I have another precept. This is Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 11. or for remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh. So before you came to this truth, you were Gentiles in the flesh, doing the things that the heathen nations were doing, right? Who are
Right.
called uncircumcision. Not uncircumcision is not doing the law. Let's get a precept with that. Through the Spirit. If you're not circumcised, that means you're not keeping the commandments. This is the book of Romans chapter 2 and verse 25. For circumcision verily profiteth if thou keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. So if you're not keeping laws and everything, you're uncircumcision spiritually. Now let's get this real quick.
Right.
So let's get I'm getting these spirits. Okay, this is Romans chapter 3 and verse 19. Now we know that what things soever the law saith, it saith to them who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped and all the world may become guilty before Yahawah. So when it says uncircumcision, that's unto Israelite, Hellenistic Jews that's living like the heathens. And uncircumcision is the people not keeping the law. And it just said that all this applies to the people under the law. So at the end of the day, it's still talking about Israelites under the law, but not keeping the law. Look at Ephesians again real quick. You do have here to hear. So this is Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 11. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hand. Verse 12. That at that time you were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without God in the world. So they was in the world. They didn't have no hope. They didn't keep the commandments or anything like that. They were alienated and they were strangers to this thing. But now they got brought forth into the truth. And now they're keeping the law, statutes, and commandments.
That's right. That's right. Hey, you know, and people that think that in the so-called New Testament, that the Gentiles like that is referring to most of the time is actual ethnic Gentiles, right? Well, how can that be the case if, right? Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 2, right? Because we already know you can't change your nationality. You can't change your bloodline, right? That's impossible, right? If you were born an Israelite, you're born an Israelite. If you were born a Chinese person, you're born a Chinese person. You can't change your nationality, right? So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles. How come Paul is saying that to the people in the church of Corinth that they were Gentiles? So at one point in time they were Gentiles. Let's say he was talking to a damn Chinese man. If he's saying that, look, in time past you were a Chinese man, but now you're not, that doesn't make any sense, right? You can't just change your ethnicity, right? It says, ye know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as you were led. Because like we read in Ezekiel 14:5, that what Israel is estranged from the Lord through their idols. So through the process of worshiping idols, our heritage was away from us. And just like how the brother brought out, we were living like the heathen, right? So therefore we were considered Gentiles. We were considered heathen. That's why Paul is saying that, right? Because let me just prove, let me just prove real quick that the people in the church of Corinth, right, are actual ethnic Israelites, right, that were in time past living like Gentiles, right? 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 1. Moreover, brethren, right? Because we already know Paul is Israelite, right? Read about that in Romans 11:1. So he's calling these people brethren, right? Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea. He said of our fathers, right? What does that mean? That means that Paul, being an Israelite, he's telling them about their history. All our forefathers were with Moses, right, in the wilderness. And who was with Moses, right? The nation of Israel, right? Verse 2, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea. All right, so that's the cut. So the people in the church at Corinth were Israelites, right? That were in time past Gentiles. Con, you got it.
I'm gonna make 2 points real quick. The first point, when people read the epistles and everything, when it says, when it says like again Gentiles, something like that, they want to push it out as it's talking to everybody. But when you read the first few verses of like Romans 1:7, and things of that nature, it always says to the saints. And who are the saints? Again, you can go to Psalms 148 and 14. You can go to Psalms chapter 50 and verse 5 to see who are the saints, right? So it's only talking to it's a letter written to somebody from somebody. The letter is sent to the saints in Rome and the Church of Corinth and Thessalonica, right, and Galatia. All those things are Israelites, are letters sent to the Israelites. And the second point, let's get First Esdras chapter 1. So like in First Esdras chapter. The book of First Esdras chapter 8 and verse 69. The nation of Israel, the princes, the priests and Levites, have not put away from them the strange people of the land. So who's the strange people? The Gentiles. It's going to say that in the few words. They're the pollutions of the Gentiles, to wit, of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, and the Moabites, Egyptians, and Edomites. And that's just a list of some Gentiles. Verse 70. For both they and their sons have married with their daughters, and the holy seed. And what's the holy seed? The Israelite seed. Holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land. So our man was going into these strange women, right? And that's commanded that we shouldn't be doing that, right? And from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity. It's an iniquity, but because in Deuteronomy 7 verse 3, which I'm about to give, it was commanded that we shouldn't be doing this. So this is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. So,
That's right. That's right. Hey, because we already see, if you would study the Old Testament, right, we already saw the process of Israelites becoming Gentiles, right? Not ethnically, but, in the same spirit as a Gentile, living like a Gentile, right? Because, like, well, yeah, let me just bring this out real quick. Ezra. Not Ezra. Let me see. Well, okay, let me bring this out. Nehemiah. This is Nehemiah chapter 13 and verse 23 says, and in those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab. See that? So during the time of Nehemiah and Ezra, they saw Jews that were what? Married wives of Ashdod, of heathen, right? Verse 24, and their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people, right? So they couldn't, their children were conformed to the ways and customs of their heathen mothers, right? So that was the process of Israel becoming as Gentiles. Verse 25, and I contended with them. So let's see what Nehemiah did. He contended with them, right? He started cussing them out, right? And cursed them and smote certain of them. So he started beating them up, right? And plucked off their hair. So he started grabbing them by the hair, right? So you jakes that, want to marry heathen wives, right? Hey, it says plucked off their hair and made them swear by the Most High, saying, ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves, right? Because ultimately they'll make your heart go astray from the Lord, right?
yeah, you got it. Like when people make it pro, like in the big leagues, like the NFL or basketball, NBA or anything like that, that's the first thing they get. It's a white women, things of that nature. That's the first thing they do.
Good point.
Let's get First Maccabees. There's a lot of meat on this one. Look at First Maccabees chapter. So look at First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse. We're gonna start at verse 11. In
Con.
those days went there out of Israel wicked men. So we got wicked man in Israel to this day, man. 2/3 coons, Jake being Jake, right? Who persuaded many, saying, "Let us go, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us." So let's go make a covenant with these heathen, right? For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So when he wasn't keeping, when he was keeping law, statutes, and commandments, and wasn't doing the ways of the Gentiles, they said these wicked Israelites said, they had much sorrow, man. It wasn't, verse 12. So this is, so this device pleased them well. Verse 13. Then certain of the people were so bored herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen, man. So that's Jake being Jake, wicked, Israelites, man. Let's skip to verse 15, and this is the point right here. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief, right? So basically, sold out, right?
That's right.
He sold out, basically.
That's right.
So okay, let me get one more. This is a better in the thing real quick. So this is First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. So King Antiochus wrote a letter to everybody that everybody should be one people doing the same thing, right? Verse 42. Everyone should leave his laws, so all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yet many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So
That's right.
everybody, a lot of Israelites, wicked Israelites consented to that. They forsook the holy covenant, they forsook God's, law, statutes, and commandments, and got down with the heathen, and that made them Gentiles, right? So,
That's
verse
right.
44. For the king had sent letters by messengers into Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days. So I'm trying to get the point. Um, let's jump to verse 48. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all the manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances, right? And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. And that's going to happen again in Babylon, man. When the abominations that make them desolate going to be set up and everything, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to have, Israelites getting put to death for keeping the commandments.
Persecution. Con. That's right. That's right. Yeah, Con. 2 points. Basically, right. I quoted this, but let me get it. This is Jeremiah 17:4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage. So the Lord told the nation of Israel that they were discontinued from their heritage, right? If they're not, they're not continuing in their heritage, right? If they're not an Israelite, then what are they, right? They'll be considered a what? Someone of another nation, right? Someone of another, ethnicity, right? A Gentile, essentially. It says that I gave thee, and I'll cause thee to serve thine enemies in a land which thou knowest not. When you serve your enemies, you also learn of their other ways, right? That's why, Jakes, they celebrate Christmas, Halloween, right? Thanksgiving, Easter. Those are not our traditions. We learn those of our oppressor, right? It says, in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever, right? And then another point, too, in Second Maccabees, right? This is Second Maccabees, chapter 6, right? In the Apocrypha. Oh, Salak, real quick. Salak.
Come. So while he's doing that, I can continue. So this is John chapter 7 verse 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, Whether will he go that we should. So let me read that again. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go that we shall not find him? So these Jews were asking amongst themselves, where will Yahawah go? Let's read the verse up actually, so we need to understand it. This is John 7, verse 34. You shall seek me and shall not find me, and where I am, thither you cannot come. Right? So he said that kind of understanding. So the Jews was talking amongst themselves, right? Verse 35. But if you want to go, or you want to finish this point?
Yeah. Salaki, right? Yeah. Good precept. This is Second Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 6, right? And even if you don't take Second Maccabees as the like holy word of the Most High, you can still you can't deny it as historical fact, right? So this is Second Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days, right, or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew, right? So during the time of the Maccabees, right, the Hasmonean dynasty, right, this was around, I would say 160 BC, right, around there. It was unlawful for Jews, right, to call himself a Jew. So if it was unlawful for that, then what would you be calling yourself? A Greek, right? Because this was during the time of the Greek captivity, right? And then the day of the king's birth, Aslak, right? I'm gonna just jump down to verse 8. It says, moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifice, and whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery, right? So it wasn't lawful for us to call ourselves an Israelite, right? We had to call ourselves Greeks. So that, during the time when you get to the New Testament, you will understand that during that process of time, hundreds of years, right, Israel has been calling themselves Greeks by other nationalities, right? So you look at these, in the letters, there's neither Jew nor Greek, and you get confounded, right? They don't know what's going on.
My bad. And you can just read one verse down after that, and it shows you who they're talking about.
Yeah, Con. Verse 10. Con. It says, for there were two women brought who had circumcised their children, whom when they had openly led round about the city, the babes hanging at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall.
Also, I was talking about the Galatians thing, the Greek thing. I was talking about if you read one verse after that
verse,
it tells you.
Oh yeah, con. Yeah, Galatians what, like 3:28? Yeah, 3:28.
So,
yeah, you got it.
Okay. So while I was baking, before the brother came back, this is John chapter 7, verse 34. This is Yahawah speaking. You shall seek me and shall not find me, and where I am, thither you cannot come. So right, he said this thing, right? Verse 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? So the Jews talking amongst themselves, you know how Jake, what he talking about? Blah, you know what he's talking about, right? And they thought he said this. Let's keep going. Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles, right? And the dispersed are the Israelites, referring to again James 1:1. So it says, will he go into the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? Because those Israelites are among the Gentiles and live like the Gentiles. So henceforth, they are called Gentiles because they're not keeping the commandments uncircumcised.
That's right. And why would they say, would he go to the dispersed among the Gentiles and then teach the Gentiles? Right? So just telling you, and who's dispersed among the Gentiles? We already got that. Tobit 3:13. 13 verse 3. Right? And plenty of other scriptures, right? Let me go to Deuteronomy 32, right? It's Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 26. I said I will scatter them into corners. I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. See that? So the Lord has always been scattering us abroad, right? You even read about in the law, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, right? About strangers, right? Coming to, worship at our feasts and stuff. Those strangers are also Israelite foreigners, right? God, you know? And then,
oh, keep going. Come on.
oh, yeah, Slack. Yeah, I was just going to share my screen real quick, right? Let me go to share my screen, right? So, I'm going to go to the blue letter. I'm going to go to Acts chapter 9, I believe. Right, Acts. Right. So like it might be Acts chapter 6. Yeah. It's Acts chapter 6 and verse 1. It says, and in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration. See that? So it says that there was a murmuring of the Grecians. So when you look up this word for Grecians, right? Let me just, oh damn, right? Grecians, right? It says Hellenistes, right? It says a Hellenist, right? One who imitates the manners and customs of the worship of Greeks and use the Greek tongue. Used in the New Testament of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek. So that's what these Grecians were. Greek-speaking Jews. Come on.
Same thing, it would be like an Israelite man in China and he speaks Chinese. Same thing.
That's right. That's right.
So, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 2 and verse 33. I, Ezra, received a charge of the Lord upon the Mount Horeb, that I shall go into Israel. But when I came unto them, they set me at naught and despised the commandment of the Lord. These Israelites despised the commandment of the Lord. Those were the Hellenistic Gentiles and everything. They despised the commandments. They didn't keep them. Let's get another verse. Verse 34. And therefore I say unto you, O ye heathen. Now when it says O ye heathen, it's not talking about the other nations. It's still talking about the Israelites. Let's keep going. O ye heathen, that hear and understand. Look for your shepherd. And who's the shepherd? YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, right? Because we are the sheep, referring to Matthew chapter 15 and verse 24. He shall give you everlasting rest, for he is nigh at hand. Thou shalt come in the end of the world. So it says, O ye heathen, to Israelites, because Israelites are living at the other nation, at the heathen nation.
That's right. That's right. Let me see. Right. So you have in the because in a lot of it, Christianity, Esau, he wants to include himself into the covenants, right? It's it's all of that, right? It's all of that, right? But
be a part of something, man.
Right. But hey, I'm gonna get the shotgun, right? Get the shotgun.
Yeah.
This is it's Romans 9 and 24, right? It says, even us whom he have called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles, right? So people, the Christians, they'll take that and they'll run with it, right? It says, not of the Jews only, not only the Israelites, when the Jew is only from the kingdom of Judah, right? So it can't be talking about all the Israelites, but let me just keep reading, right? It says, as he said also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my beloved. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living God, right? So let's go to that in the book of Hosea, because that's what he was quoting, right? It says OC, right? So It's the book of Hosea, chapter 1, and verse 10. This is a cut because Christians, they'll think that that's talking about actual ethnic Gentiles. Right? So, Hosea chapter 1 and verse 10, and it reads, yet the number of the children of Israel, so the context is the children of Israel, it's talking about the children of Israel, shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered, be measured nor numbered, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, right, ye are not my people, right? Because remember, the Lord, he almost cast us completely off, right? Hey, the Lord, he was fed up with this. He was like, hey, y'all not my people, bro, right? It says, ye are not my people. There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. See that? So, so that's why he said, hey, that's why, because the Romans that Paul is writing to are the saints, right? It tells you that in Romans chapter 1. Right? And the saints are Psalms 50 verse 5, right? And Psalms chapter 147, no, 148,
verse 14.
yeah, 14, right? The saints are the children of Israel, right? And so let me keep reading, verse 11. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, right? And appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel, right? And that's the Israel and Judah being united together under YAHAWASHI. So that's what these Christians don't understand also, prophecy, right? You got to understand prophecy, all right? You got it.
So I got a few points and everything to make. So this is the first thing I want to attack. Let's get Galatians chapter 2 and verse 9. And it reads, and when James, Cephas, and John, who seemed to be pillars, perceived that grace that was given unto them, so like given unto me, they gave to me and Barnabas the right hands of fellowship, that we should go unto the heathen, and they unto the circumcision. I already read in Romans chapter 3 and everything, what circumcision? Keeping the law. So they went to the heathen, which are Israelites that live like the heathen. Again, another word for heathen, Gentile. And that's what it's going into. Right. So let's get another one real quick in the chat. This Galatians chapter 3 and verse 14, and it reads, that the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Yahushua HaMashiach, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. The Spirit through faith, right? So when it says the blessing on the Gentiles, again, people gonna think the blessing. They said that in church too. The blessing is on everybody now, right? Verse 15, brethren, I speak after the manner of man, though it be but man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, and no man disacknowledgeth or added thereto. Verse 16, this is the point right here. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made, right? He saith not unto seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is the Mashiach. So basically he's saying there's only one chosen promised seed line, which is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Not to seeds as a different seeds, because Abraham he had Ishmael too, but Ishmael didn't get the promise. Isaac had Jacob and Esau, but Esau didn't get the promise, right? So the point is, who has the promise? Let's get it real quick. Let's go to Romans chapter 9. This is the book of Romans chapter 9 and verse 4. We gotta see what nation of people has the promise. But this is the book of Romans chapter 9 and verse 4. Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of God and the promises. So let's talk about Israelites. And since we're on Galatians chapter 3, let's go ahead and attack that Jew or Greek real quick. So this is Galatians chapter 3 and verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in the Hamashiach Yahushua. And when they get that, they want to close the book, they might try to shake your hand and everything, and call it a day. But when you read one verse, see, that's what you gotta read. You read one verse down, verse 29, and if you be Hamashiach, then are you Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Right? Let me read that one more time. And if you be Hamashiach, then are you Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. And we just read who are the promises for? The Israelites. He's not talking about everybody. That's why, let me get that real quick too. Let's go to Peter real quick. Because people kind of wrestle with the scriptures and get body slammed.
God. God.
This is the book of is it this one? This book of Second Peter chapter 3 and verse 16. As also in all his epistles, talking about Paul's epistles, as also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable rest. And when it says rest, and not talking about going to sleep, they kind of wrestle with it, as they do also the other scriptures unto their own destruction. So they wrestle with the other scriptures, saying you don't have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Next thing you know, they get body slammed by a death angel. A death angel roll up on them because they wasn't keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. And now they're in the spirit world because they didn't get the understanding of the epistles, man.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. God, that's right. That's right. Hey, you can't just go to Paul, right, to prove your points and just totally disannul Yahawashi and the prophets and the law, right? It has to all flow together, right? So if them in the scriptures, right, in the so-called Old Testament, if it says that basically that the Gentiles will have to come to us for salvation, right? That they can't get salvation, that Israel will get salvation, right? But now it's saying in the New Testament that the salvation is open unto the Gentiles, right? And you go into Paul's epistles, Galatians, you go into Romans, right? You go into all these epistles of Paul, right? You can't do that, right? You have to put the thus saith the Lord first, right? And Paul should come, and explain that, right? So this is let me see, right? I was thinking the precept. Oh yeah, Matthew, right?
Mr. Love, can I get to one verse real quick before you get there real quick?
Come.
I just want to touch on what you just said. You gotta go precept upon precept to get understanding. Because somebody can say this, but can you precept that? Everything in the Bible can be precept. This is Isaiah 28 and verse 10, the classic. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. That's all it's going to be.
Okay, con. Right. That's right. It says Matthew chapter 4 and verse 15. The land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles, right? So Galilee, in basically Matthew 4 and 15 is calling Galilee of the Gentiles, right? What does that mean? There was Israelites in Galilee, but yet those Israelites were called Gentiles. Why? Because they were living after the manner of Gentiles. So therefore, they were called Gentiles, right? That's what people don't understand, right? Hey, me, before, right, in the world, right, Brother Zay, before in the world, we were what? Black, right? African American, right? American, right? But hey, we realize that that's not true, right? And that we're actually Israelites. So now we're calling ourselves by our true nationality, right? Being a Hebrew Israelite, and that's what the whole ministry was about. Bringing them back to Yahawashi, right? Bringing them back to the law, statutes, and commandments. Bring them back to their true ethnicity and heritage, right? And God, right? So and
I saw he come.
Oh yeah, Splot, yeah. Let me just get one more precept. It's Matthew chapter 28 and verse 19, right? It says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Ghost," right? But what does that mean? Right? Why is he saying to go to all nations? Right? I thought Yahushua said only go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So now he's saying go to all nations. No, he's saying go to all nations because you have Israelites in every nation, right? We already read that. It says, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Right? And Christians, they'll pull that verse, right? Verse 19, in Matthew 28. They don't even know the name of the Father, bro.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'll ask them, like, okay, what's the name of the Father? Right? That's not the point. The point is that you don't even know, right?
Yeah.
And you don't even teach, because the Lord said, verse 20, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And Yahushua commanded us to keep the law. But are you teaching other people to keep the law? No, you're not, right? And plus, that's another cut. Who is given the law, right? Who has the basically who was under the law, right? Who has the service of the Most High, right? We read about that in Romans 9:4, the Israelites, right? So, Khan, got it.
What your brother said, man, when it says about the nations and everything, like there have been all nations and everything, it's just talking about everybody has to witness this truth. Israelites witness this truth. So there's
Sure.
not gonna be no excuses in the last days, man. No excuses. There's gonna be Matthew 24 and verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. Did you already read this one, King? Matthew chapter 24 and verse 14?
No.
Okay. So this is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world. In all the world. All over the place, man. You got prophets in Europe. You got prophets where you think no prophet's gonna be at, man. Everybody either gonna see it on social media. You're gonna walk past a prophet. They might even see the end is here and everything, or the end is coming on a wall or something like that. Everybody's gonna notice, hear about this truth, man. Everybody. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Like, at the end of the day, it's not talking about everybody. Because look, let's get this real quick. Let's get Luke chapter 19 and verse 10. It's locked. So it reads Luke chapter 19 verse 10. For the Son of Man is come to seek and to save that which was lost. And again, who's the people that are lost? Matthew chapter 15 verse 24. The lost sheep of the house of Israel. Let's get that real quick, just for clarification. This is Matthew chapter 15 verse 24, and it reads, But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's a cut for talking about everybody. It's really not. And they need to stop doing that.
That's right. It's Salakia, we're gonna have to do a part 2. Salakia, really, because yeah, Slack. But we can get on after, right? Most High willing, we can get on after. But yeah, we bringing out. Hey, yeah, we're bringing out the fire though. Bringing out the fire.
We just kind of that doctrine, man. Yeah, we kind of that doctrine now.
All right, but yeah, so yeah, we're gonna have to close out Slack. I really don't want to, but
I feel you, man. I feel you. Yeah. We'll be back on.
But, yeah, but yeah, of course, giving all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh, BAHASHAM, Yahshua. Come back. We'll come back with the part 2, Lord, most High willing. And Shalom. All right. Let me just.